Not only do I not work here, but no one does. This is my apartment. So basically, I live in a small apartment above a bar that has a really good kitchen. Over time, I've become friends with the owners, who are really great people. This past weekend, there was lots of noise coming from the bar at about midnight, so I came to complain. They said they couldn't do much about the noise. It was a crowd watching a game. But if I came in at some point this week, they'd give me dinner for free as an apology. That brings us to yesterday. I'd gotten off work late and didn't feel like cooking, so I decided to cash in on the aforementioned free dinner. As I'm eating, things start to get really loud and busy again, so I asked for my meal to be put in a to-go container. The owner said I could just take the plate upstairs, as long as I return it later that night or the next day. As I'm leaving, still shoveling fries into my mouth, I notice a woman trying to flag me down from her table. I assumed she was looking at a server behind me, so I took no notice and walked outside, carrying my dinner. I put the plate down to open my door, and while I'm rooting through my pocket, I feel a sharp tap on my shoulder. Don't just ignore me like that. I've ordered almost 40 minutes ago and I've not got my food. This is unacceptable. This can't be true, by the way, considering even when it's packed, I've never waited longer than 30 minutes. And I say, okay? I'm not quite sure what she wants. But she goes on, what do you mean, okay? What are you gonna do about it? I want my meal discounted for this. Now realizing what's happened, I say, oh, I don't work there. You'll need to speak to someone who does about that. I start opening my door and she says, don't lie to me. She looks past me, up the stairs. I know you guys are just hiding up there instead of working. I'd like to speak to the owner. Lady, this is my apartment. Please leave me alone. I'm holding the door open while I bend over to pick up my meal. She pushes past me and charges up the stairs, screaming as she goes, you guys better get back to work. There are people waiting to be served down here. I'm just silent. What the F? At this point, she's reached the top of the stairs and is now looking around my room, realizing the only person she was yelling to was my fish, who I'm sure wasn't in any mood to serve her anything after that. And I say, see? Get the F out of my apartment. I'm angry, tired, and fantasizing about the burger on the plate in my hand. The lady says, well, it doesn't change the fact that I've been waiting ages for my food, and that's unacceptable. She looks at my plate. Clearly you know the owners, so I think you should still talk to them for me. What the hell? Get out. I'm out of patience at this point, and begin to walk towards her and try to usher her back down the stairs. Don't touch me. If you don't care, I'll find someone who does. She ran back down the stairs and slammed the door on the way out. However, not before kicking a pair of my shoes into the street, which I then had to go out and collect. I saw the owner today when I gave the plate back, and he said the lady had come back down and caused a scene in the bar. Eventually, the bouncer removed her. I couldn't believe she still tried to act like she was right, even after she realized she was standing in my apartment, not a restaurant, but whatever. Karen tries to order pizza from me while I'm eating pizza myself, then refuses to believe I don't work there. For context, I work at a chain bakery that has a bright blue polo shirt and khaki-colored pants as the uniform, with the bakery's logo embroidered on one of the sleeves. Coming home from work on the bus, there's a small plaza at the stop before mine that has some pretty bomb pizza, and every once in a while I'll stop by the plaza to grab some and walk the rest of the way home. The uniform there is a fire truck red t-shirt with the logo completely covering the back and black pants. If someone can tell me how Karen got this mixed up, I would love to know. On this great day, I was running on 3 to 4 hours of sleep, a cheese croissant and coffee, had just gotten off an 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. shift, and hadn't had time to grab lunch while on break. So suffice to say, I was hungry. Hungry enough that I didn't even care that I was still in my work uniform. I just wanted some food pronto. So I stopped by the pizza parlor, grabbed a slice, some Mountain Dew, and a cookie for the road, and sat down a happy customer. I had my headphones in and was scrolling through my phone while I ate, when the staff disappeared behind the counter. No biggie. About a minute later, Karen walks in. It was just me in the place at the time, and the staff was still in the kitchen. The most attention I gave her was a quick glance before looking back to my phone and taking another sip of my pop. I assumed she would just go up to the counter and order, you know, like a normal person. But I assumed wrong. Before I knew it, she was standing right beside my table and giving me that good old disapproving stare only Karens are capable of. This was our interaction as follows. I take my earbud out, lower my volume, and say, "Can I help you?" "Hi, can I get a such and such?" I'm catching on pretty quickly, and I respond with, "Oh, sorry, but I don't work here." She pauses, as if this information was too large of a worldview shift for her to process, and in the end, her brain just could not compute. She goes on and says, "First, don't interrupt me. That's very rude. Second, that's a uniform. This is an establishment. I know you work here, so don't give me that attitude." The logic of this Karen made my own brain short circuit. And I guess it showed on my face because the next thing I knew, her jaw dropped in shock and she was railing me on my horrendous work ethic and berating me over wearing headphones on the job and eating all the product that's meant for the customers. She even went as far as to say that I'd made a huge mistake, as she was a regular and had more than enough leeway to get me fired. Side note, if she was a regular, she would have known what the uniform looked like. It was around this point that I remembered the logo on my sleeve and just wordlessly turned my arm and pointed at it. Karen stops yelling long enough to give it a proper look, and I could see the color just drain from her face. I'm petty though, so to rub salt in the wound, I tacked on a not so friendly. "See that? It says such and such bakery. What was this place called again?" Then, not 2 seconds later, an actual staff member shows up behind Karen and asks if there's a problem. I thought that was the end of it, but Karen says, "Yes, there's a problem. Your coworker was extremely rude to me." Yup, that's right. Karen was still insisting that I worked there. The pizza girl looks at me and recognizes me as the girl she just served, and she says, "Ma'am, she doesn't work here." "Don't lie to me, I want to see a manager." The pizza girl goes to get her manager. All the while, Karen is giving me the snobbiest death glare I've ever gotten in my life. I just sighed and took another sip of my pop. Then the pizza girl and her manager come back out. The manager says, "Hi, what's the problem here?" "That girl refused to take my order and was extremely rude to me. You need to discipline her." The manager, same as the pizza girl, looks at me and knows that I don't work for her and says, "She doesn't work here, ma'am, but I can take your order if you like." Finally, Karen leaves me alone and follows the manager to place her order. I could hear her complaining about me though, so I started packing up my things to eat my pizza at home and in peace. The pizza girl stopped me though, handing me a takeout bag with another slice, garlic dip, and a cookie. She said it was both an apology for having to deal with Karen and a thank you for being one of their nicer regulars. It still puts a smile on my face, and this was yesterday. On my way out though, I heard Karen demanding a free pizza. I hope those guys turned out okay. So on shift today was myself, my manager, who's an angel by the way, and my buddy, let's call him James. I told them what happened the day I posted the story, which was the day after it happened. Partly because I wanted to give my side of the story in case Karen called, but mostly just because I needed to share. My manager laughed, but told me not to worry about it, so I didn't. Fast forward to today. My district manager paid us a visit, doing the standard checkups and whatnot. It was at the end of her visit, however, that things got interesting. She was asking for our opinions on a certain matter. What was that matter, you ask? Whether or not she should block a certain caller from being able to contact her at her head office. My manager asks, "Why, what's this caller doing?" And the district manager says, "She keeps calling to see if I fired one of our girls." "What do you mean? What happened?" Initially, she called to complain that one of our girls was behaving indecently and was rude to her. Only thing is, she didn't have a name and the incident didn't happen at one of our stores. All she had was her description, and that she was wearing our uniform. I told her there wasn't anything I could do for her, and she hung up on me. She's called a few times to see if I've taken action yet though, and it's getting annoying. James and I shared a look, the "you don't think" kind. And James says, "Wait, her description?" The district manager scoffs and says, "It wasn't even a good one. All she said was that the girl was short, had black hair, mid-toned skin, and brown eyes. That could be anyone." Gestures towards me. "Look, it could be OP." There was a small pause. Then James starts laughing. The store manager is cluing in and says, "Oh my god, do you think it was..." "No, no way," I said. "Wait, what's going on?" The district manager looks at me. "Do you know something? Was it actually you?" I couldn't help it. I just started laughing. James and my manager joined in, and my district manager just smiled and said, "It was you, wasn't it?" I nodded, and she started laughing too. After I explained what happened, my district manager let me know she'd go ahead and have the number blocked. Bakery employee 1, Karen 0.